In a world where legends rise and fall with every punch, where the roar of the crowd fades, but the stories live on. This is where those stories are told. This is Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. From the blood, the sweat, and the glory, to the controversies, comebacks, and knockouts, we go behind the ring, no fluff, no hype, and definitely no BS. Just the truth behind the fight game. And we've been doing it for over 2 decades. A podcast pioneer, now a Hall of Famer.
Great. What's that ego gonna be like?
And next, the comeback kid.
Wait, isn't he like 90 or something?
Shut up, he'll hear you. The reigning, defending, undisputed, heavyweight champion of boxing broadcasting. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. And it's on now.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're watching, whenever you're listening. I hope you're doing okay today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by, you guessed it, my book. Would you get a copy already? You can get a copy of Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Men on the Planet, anywhere good books are sold. I mean, the easiest way is just go to Amazon and check it out. You can get it right now while you're watching or listening to this show. You can also go to BillyCBoxing.com and click on the book there as well. And today's show is being brought to us in part by this year's Florida Boxing Hall of Fame event taking place June 5th, 6th, and 7th. Be there. Go up and FloridaBoxingHallOfFame.com. You can search them on Facebook and get the link there. Get yourself some tickets. It's a 3-day event. And I'm going to be doing the show live that Friday night from the Hall of Fame. And we got a bunch of potentially great guests coming on. I don't know what the full schedule is, but some of the people that are definitely going to be there. I mean, first and foremost, Steve Canton from the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, former world champion Nate Campbell. My man, Randy Gordon, is being inducted this year, and he'll be there. I know I'm going to drag him on the show, as well as Jerry Cooney. I can't wait to see him again. Zab Judah is supposed to be there, China Smith. The great Bob Arum, we're hoping that he can physically make it, and we'll definitely get him on the show. One of the best authors around, author. And I love all his stuff. He's been on this show. I can't wait to meet him in person, Mark Allen Baker. But anyway, we got a busy show scheduled for you tonight. I'm going to be talking about the World Heavyweight. I'm sorry. Yes, it's the World Heavyweight Championship fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Rico Verhoeven. Is it worth watching? I'll be talking about that. We got a lot of boxing news and rumors we'll give you my thoughts on. I'll be breaking down and predicting not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 of the biggest fights scheduled for this weekend. I got Dax Khan joining us a little bit later. A lot more stuff, especially a great email. But first, let's talk about some fight results. This past weekend, we had a heavyweight fight between Filip Hrgovic, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do, took care of David Allen. David Allen must have gotten paid pretty big. It was his hometown. He got introed second. The ring introductions, he got introed first. But, a guy got a lot of heart. But Hrgovic went in that fight and did not want to mess around. The end came at 2 minutes and 37 seconds of round number 3. Hrgovic is now 20 wins, 1 loss, with 15 of his wins coming by knockout. David Allen, who's fought them all pretty much, especially on the UK scene, he drops to 25-9 with 20 knockouts. And the talk started immediately about Moses Atuma. The fight's already being. They're trying to schedule the fight for some time in the fall. My thoughts on this fight. I just want to be quick on it. Look, Hergervik is a good fighter. The only fighter that he lost to was KBL, and it was a good fight. Now here's the thing. All right, they say the old adage: styles make fights. Right? Well, Hergervik is perfect for Moses Ituma. Hergervik is a dangerous fighter. He clearly has some pop, but he's not fleet of foot, and he doesn't have the fastest hands, both of which Moses Ituma does have. But I like the fight, and it's going to be a big test for Moses Ituma because he's never fought anybody with the skill level of Filip Hergervik. So I'm looking forward to the fight. I hope they sign it soon. But I think it'll be the true test for Moses Ituma, and I think it's a good fight for him. To be honest with you, Keyshawn Davis fought this past weekend too. I wasn't that jacked up about the fight, but he improved to 15-0 with 10 knockouts when he beat a former silver medalist and world champion in Nahir Albright. 17-3-1 now is Albright. I really wasn't expecting Keyshawn Davis to have much trouble with him. I just didn't, and he didn't. But he went the distance. I don't want to be negative. It was a good fight for Keyshawn. I think that's his level. I don't know how much, we'll see. We'll see. All right. All right. Let's talk about the fight that I didn't get to talk about last week, and that's Daniel Dubois going against Fabio Wardley. Wardley was the champ. You guys all saw it. I'm sure you read about it. Brutal fight. I was just talking about Filip Hergervik a couple of minutes ago fighting Moses Ituma. And, all along, if you've been a listener or a viewer of this show, you know that I've been skeptical about, Moses Ituma and how they're, the fan base and the powers that be are already putting him in the Hall of Fame. All right. Look, he shows a lot of promise. I believe he's the future of the heavyweight division, but let him fight somebody like Hergervik, all right, which I just talked about. Now let's go back to the Dubois and Fabio Wardley fight. I love Fabio Wardley, but I told you guys, and if you have watched this show for any length of time, like I started to say, you would have heard me say that Fabio Wardley is a good fighter, and he, too, is the future of the heavyweight division, but his only claims to fame. Now, he had a great win over Joseph Parker. No knock on that. But prior to that, Frazier Clark was his only other big win, and Frazier Clark is a marginal fighter at best, and they had a back-and-forth, tough-as-nails fight that was a draw. And then he had the rematch. So I told you guys that he's going to be there, but I also was skeptical. Daniel Dubois, is a fighter, a tale of two fighters. He came out, he was dropped a couple of times in that fight. But here's the thing. I noticed a few things about this fight. Dubois' shots that Wardley landed at the top of his head, at the top of Dubois' head, that seems to be his kryptonite. He would drop. Then he would get right back up. But he took some solid shots to the chin. There's no question about that. It was an extremely entertaining fight. I loved every minute of it. The right guy won. But I'll tell you something. All they talked about was how Fabio Wardley had the heart, and he showed bottle. I even heard somebody refer to him showing bottle, which is guts. It's balls, in England. That's an English term. But it was used mostly during Tom Molyneux's time. I had to learn what it was, but great bottom. He had great bottom. The thing is is that they said that about Wardley, but make no mistake, boys and girls, Wardley got screwed. You know by who? Two people. His whole corner, which was probably four people, and the ref. He came out not once but two times staggering out of the corner after his minute break. And the last time was just before the end, and he should have never been allowed to have been continued, let alone the pummeling his face took. I mean, I know the ringside doctor was checking him out and everything, but he didn't have an X-ray machine. I never heard of if he broke any orbital bones in his face, but he certainly was busted up bad. And he was throwing a lot of wild punches, all indicative of what I kept saying is that his experience level wasn't there. When you look at Daniel Dubois, if that version of Daniel Dubois shows up, that was the same version that Anthony Joshua faced. He's a tough out. The problem is he has no defense. And towards the end of the fight, I don't know if it was from fatigue or what, but towards the end of the Fabio Wardley fight, he stopped throwing punches aside from one at a time. He would throw one punch at a time, and it was almost like he had to garner up the energy to throw another one. I think if he could have thrown a couple of shots, this fight would have been over a lot sooner. And then when he faces if he faces a guy like Usyk, who, you need more than one punch to knock him out, even a power puncher like Dubois. But Fabio Wardley has already exercised his rematch clause that he had. So listen, I think as far as Dubois, Wardley too, if Wardley could be a little more disciplined in the ring, using a jab and keeping Dubois off of him, because that was how Usyk basically owned him, and then break him down. He seems to run out of gas, or at least the pop of his punches leave. I'm talking about Dubois, and Wardley has a shot to beat him by boxing him and trying to pick his power shots. Now, on the other side of the coin, Dubois could continue, if he continues this aggressive style, and smother his opponents with his aggressive style so that they can't deploy a boxing game plan, box and move and land punches. But interesting. I do want to see it again. I do want Wardley to heal up, but we'll see what happens. But now they were also talking about the potential fight with Daniel Dubois for Moses Atuma. I think Daniel Dubois and Filip Hrgovic are actually good opponents for Moses Atuma because neither one of them are fleet of foot. Now, I think Daniel Dubois would be extremely a little more dangerous to Moses Atuma right now than Filip Hrgovic, even though Filip Hrgovic could very easily win the fight. I just, to be honest, if it were me, I think Moses Atuma is a great test for. I'm sorry. I think that Filip Hrgovic is a great test for Moses Atuma. That would be a really good fight. That could set up a title shot with the winner of Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois too. So be looking for that. Also on that weekend, in a shocker. David Morrell, who looked, in my opinion, he looked good against David Benavidez. I had nothing but high praise for his performance. People think I'm nuts. I thought it was a lot closer than the scores. But the truth of the matter is that I thought Morrell was the next guy in the light heavyweight division. He had a performance after his fight against David Benavidez that was piss poor. But like I said last week, you thought that Jack Chelly was a good opponent for him, and he turned out to lose. He gets stopped in the 10th round. He was getting battered. So who knows? The division is wide open. So. some good news. At least if you like Ryan Garcia, it's looking like he's going to be back September 12th. Now, I've seen several announcements made by both sides, some cryptic, some flat out, but I have not seen an official announcement of this fight. But it sounds very probable that Ryan Garcia will return to the ring against Conor Benn September 12th. It is also maybe added to the Canelo Alvarez Christian Mobiliai fight in Saudi Arabia. There's rumors about that. Like I said, nothing's been official, and I'm still thinking that Ryan Garcia and Shakur Stevenson are going to sign with Zuffa Boxing. So I would not be surprised if Ryan Garcia does go and fight on that card. It'll be interesting to see what happens with his belt. I know he's got a belt, but in any event, some great news in the sport of boxing was actually released a week ago today. I don't know. It's good for me to be able to say that he's unretiring and coming back. Only time will tell if it's good for him, but Vasily Lomachenko has decided to get back to the ring. He's no spring chicken, and he has had a lot of fights, but this guy, look, he's a special fighter. For some reason, he's not getting the props he deserves. It'll be really interesting to see at what level he can return to. Because I got to be honest, when you talk about the sweet science and the true definition of the sweet science, and listen, boys and girls and children of all ages, it's not hit and don't get hit. There's a whole nother section of the sweet science definition. I know Floyd Mayweather has said, yeah, hit and don't get hit. Why take chances? You hit and he runs to the other end of the ring, or fighters like him run to the other ring. No, it's hit and not get hit, but still be in position to inflict damage on your opponent. And that's what really good fighters can do, like Terrence Crawford. And, there's been so many. I'm just mentioning fighters of now, Terrence Crawford. And this guy was one of the best that I've ever seen in Vasily Lomachenko. I mean, literally, he could be less than 3 feet away from you, and you're trying to hit him, and next thing you know, he's on the other side of you, hitting you with a devastating shot, all in one fluid motion. His footwork was fantastic. It'll be interesting to see, because he did battle some injuries towards the latter part of before he retired. So it'll be interesting to see, and knowing that he's a special fighter, if this extra time that he took outside of the ring, if he really healed up and comes back, vigorated, and everything is the same in terms of reflexes, hand speed, footwork, etc. It'll be interesting to see, who he fights. Does he have a warm-up fight? Is he going to go for a top guy? I don't know. Apparently, now we've heard this saga, and quite honestly, I got to be honest when I say that I'm not interested in Floyd Mayweather against Manny Pacquiao. I'm just not. I wanted Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather to fight 5 years before they did the first time, and this time I really, I don't care about it. Excuse me. But as you know, it's been a back and forth saga with this fight, but apparently it's been changed locations and dates and everything, but apparently the deal is set, and it's set for Friday, September 25th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and it will be on Netflix. So we'll see what happens. And Mayweather is still fighting the kickboxer, Mike Zambidius, in Athens, Georgia. That's coming up before the fight in September. And I think he's sprinkling in Mike Tyson, too. So we'll see what goes on with that. Derek Chisora. Remember Derek Chisora said, this is my 50th fight. Win, lose, or draw, I'm retiring. I just wanted to hit 50 fights. And we saw an interesting fight between Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora. It was a close decision, depending upon how you score fights. I mean, look, Chisora, you could have said he won. I mean, whatever. But they may fight again. He's saying that he wants to do a Wilder rematch, so we're going to see Wilder and Chisora. I don't know. I haven't heard anything other than Derek Chisora mentioning that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, joining us now, all the way from about 2 hours and 15 minutes from me, is my main man, Dak Tom. What's up, Dak?
Billy C, what's going on?
Oh, how you doing? So what's your thoughts? All right, I know you had some things you wanted to talk about. So before we do that, I just want to ask you your opinion on the fight coming up between Usyk and Rico Verhoeven. I just lost you, Dax. Dax hung up on me. I know I'm messing up his name. I think it's Verhoeven, right? Verhoeven. So, in any event, we'll ask him about that. And speaking about Oleksandr Usyk against Rico Verhoeven, is a world championship fight. Is it worth watching? I'm going to be breaking it down here in a couple of seconds, or not a couple of seconds. In a couple of seconds, I hope to have Dax Khan back on. But towards the end of the show, I'm going to break down that fight and three others on that card. Some good fights are on that card, and I'll let you know if I think it's even worth watching. But as far as the fight itself initially, I'm not so sure. I think it's. I'm not so sure. I think it's going to be worth to watch. I got to be. I just. I got to be honest. I just don't think so. Jay, my man, is asking me, do you have some whiskey for Memorial Day weekend? I have some scotch. I'm a scotch drinker. And I never leave holidays without it. As a matter of fact, at some of the live events, you very well may see me have scotch in hand. So, speaking of the live events, you should come and check out the Florida show we're doing. We're going to be doing this show live from the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame on Friday night, June 5th. And it's going to start a little later than normal, but I'm really looking forward to it. My man is forgetting that he's apologized. You don't have to apologize. Scotch is a whiskey. It's just from Scotland. But anyway, I'm looking forward to doing that show. We'll be going on a little later. Hey, it's your birthday. Hey, you might as well. June 5th, your birthday. We'll be doing the show. Come down to Florida, man. That's what we should do. But anyway, we got Zuffa boxing news while I wait for Dax to pay his phone bill. In the middleweight division, Stephen McKenna, who's, a guy that's a good quality fighter, from England. He's got a record of 15-1, 14 knockouts. Was very successful in the amateurs. He signed with Zuffa, and he's going to be making his Zuffa debut on June 6th when he takes on a pretty tough fighter that has got a record of 15 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws, with 6 of his wins coming by knockout. And his name, which I forgot to mention, Casey James Streeter. So Zuffa Boxing signs Stevie McKenna. Hold that thought, because I'll talk more about Zuffa a little bit later. But let's welcome him to the stage again for the second time, Dax Khan. What'd you do to me, man?
I don't know. I just all of a sudden I'm sitting there talking, and like, why don't I hear nothing in the background? I'm waiting for you to answer me, and then I look over and say, no, well, Dax needs to pay his phone bill.
Yeah, I said
We're
I
on
was saying,
Wi-Fi. What phone bill do I
I
have?
guess, yeah, right. Well, that's how old I am. But before you talk about some things that you wanted to come on and discuss, the fight this weekend with one of your favorite fighters, Oleksandr Usyk, going up against Rico Verhoeven, and it is a world title fight. I know Verhoeven is extremely experienced in martial arts. I'm having a hard time getting up for this fight, bro.
Well, as I was saying, rambling on before the phone
As you were saying by yourself.
before my phone bill disconnected. What I was saying is that what do we want from Usyk? He's 40 years old. What hasn't he proven in the sport? He is a 2-division undisputed lineal champion. He's faced nothing but the very best. He's never had hometown advantage. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He never complains about location. He never complains about who the opponent is. He doesn't worry about what people have to say. He's reaching out. He's training Anthony Joshua. What are we going to be happy about? Or is it going to be, Bill? Think about it. When he's face planted, is that what's going to make fans happy? Which seems to be a habit in boxing. But again, like I was saying before I got interrupted, you got to figure his opponents have a combined record of 584 wins with 86 losses and 422 knockouts. He owns a gold medal, unified 2 separate divisions. Each bout, remember, was one at a time other than Joshua. He rematched everybody. He never went and gave everybody the runaround. You wanted a rematch right away. He gave the rematch. They criticize everything this guy does, but the guy has been nothing but an ambassador of the sport. Whether people like to admit it or not, we know he's an all-time great. Now, Rico Verhoeven, no, he's not a boxer, but again, he's no kid himself. He's 37. He's had almost 60 ring walks, and he's had over 5 that I know of at least Glory World heavyweight title fights that he's won. He's defeated guys, some of the best legends, Anderson Silva, Antonio Bigfoot Silva. He's been out of the ring for a year now in kickboxing. He's only had that one fight in 2024 against a guy, with no winning record. I guess it was, kind of the end of the pandemic. Things still weren't quite opened up. So I don't see why this is not okay for them when it's okay for everybody else. It's okay for the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fights. It's okay for Floyd to fight Conor McGregor, who doesn't have the experience that Verhoeven has. It's okay for these guys to cross over into other sports. They lose, and there's an excuse made for them saying, well, that's not their sport. So why is Alexander Usyk different? You tell me, why is he different? 12 current or former heavyweight world champions, 10 separate champions, because he gave them all rematches, I said, 3-0 in lineal fights. He's fought guys a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and a lot better than Verhoeven. So what do we need from Alexander Usyk? Maybe I'm confused.
Well, I mean, since everybody's putting him in the all-time great discussion and everything, and he's accomplished today, by today's standards, a lot more than most. I mean, actually more than most. You can just say that, more than, 95% of them. You know how many people are clean out a division, let alone 2?
Hey, what about Ali? Spinks only had 8 fights. Did that damage him?
Leon?
No, Leon had 8 fights when he defeated Ali. Did that damage Ali?
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm mad. Did that damage Ali's legacy?
Not at all.
So why should it damage Usyk's?
Usyk, if he lost? He's not.
No, I'm not saying losing. He goes in there, he beats this guy. What does it matter? He goes in there, he beats this guy, and it's a going away fight. Why is it damaging? What more do you want from this guy? Not you personally, but what more do fans want?
Me personally, I don't have a problem with him taking it. What I'll just classify as an easy fight. My biggest hang up, I'm going to get into this later, but my biggest hang up is that they approve it as a world title fight. Now, you mentioned Floyd Mayweather. You know damn well that I thought it was a travesty that Nevada State Athletic Commission approved the fight with Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Same difference. I mean, look, I don't have a problem with them fighting, but when you put these titles on, it's such a slap in the face to the other fighters that are trying to earn their shots.
Well,
and as
far blame the sanction bodies, Bill.
No.
Blame the sanctioning bodies. You know what I mean?
I do blame the sanctioning bodies, but as far as Usyk is concerned, there's no doubt that he has made an impact on the sport. As a heavyweight, he's really fought 6 top fights against 3 guys. And they were arguably the top guys at the time. So yeah, I just I would rather see him retire or fight a fight like this with no titles on the line.
I think this is more of a business move, to be honest with you.
100. No, I don't have a problem. That's
not for him, for the sport itself. We're expanding now because now we're expanding. Now that this fight is taking place in Egypt, so now we're expanding.
Yeah, it's taking place in Egypt only.
We're expanding.
Yeah.
Think about that. We're expanding. When I don't know off the top of my head, and usually I can, but when? What? I can't think of any relevant fights that have ever taken place in Egypt.
No, but I saw what's his name, Prince Ahmed, come in on a flying carpet entrance one time.
I was there when he did that.
That was the two best ring entries I've ever seen. Was that one when he came in on a flight, and then the other one was what the heck? I'm thinking I'm going blank with his name, but he came in on a horse, a real lightweight guy, Jorge Arce.
Arce, yeah, oh yeah, the lollipop sucking cowboy.
Lollipop on a horse. That was that he comes riding.
Thierry Joshua, Dubois twice, Gassiev, Breedis, Glowacki.
Yeah, but wait. I'm just talking about heavyweight division. You go on. You can go on with and on and all day about Usyk. My point of the matter is really the sanctioning bodies. I 100% agree that this shouldn't be for the titles, but again, the sanctioning bodies will do anything to make money. You know what I mean? They'll prostitute their mother to make money. We know this. But the fighter, at this level, if the fighter's footing the bill for the sanction, unless the sanctioning bodies waive the fee, who knows? But we'll see. We'll see. I just don't think you make a good point about Egypt, but I can't see many fights being. Who knows? Maybe we're going to see a crazy, wild.
Men this size. Rico is 6'5". I believe he usually enters the ring somewhere around 260, around Fury weight. So we all know that men that size, even if you are a journeyman, you land that punch with all that body weight and power behind it that the other guy, no matter how good he is, doesn't see it. Lights get turned out. Hey, there's always that possibility. But we also, for years, we always say, well, this one deserves an easy fight when they first win a title, to gain his legs, to know what it's like to become a champion. What about, a guy who has never had an easy fight in his career? Why not let him ride off into the sunset quietly? Because Usyk, even after he retires, isn't going to be away from the sport. I have a feeling he's going to be more of an ambassador. We already know his training. So, this is... let's not shit on a guy that's given us more than we realize, and we won't until a couple of years from now.
He's got a real good PR team right now. Like he's really a character. I've seen some of the clips, and he's the one with him dancing. He just looks like a total nutcase, He's not like this guy. I was telling one of your listeners right now. He's not like earlier today. He's not like this guy from over in the UK. What the hell did you tell me? I thought you knew boxing. That's why I came over to talk to you. Who?
I don't know. It was that Frotch Taylor. I don't know. This guy comes walking over, sitting next to me, and we're bitching about all these people that used to work under us, getting ringside seats, applying for credentials that we didn't approve. And so we're sitting back there. The guy walks over to me, introduces himself. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So what? We're sitting there talking. Who's your favorite heavyweight? I mentioned Lennox Lewis, and all of a sudden the freaking guy's up in the air. He's yelling. He's screaming. So what the hell?
Yeah, hey, listen, I heard that guy.
How did that end up in the long run?
It ended up with me respecting Lennox Lewis more than ever because of the way he walked away from the ring. And that you make my argument right there with your own guy, because the way he walked away, same thing with Terrence Crawford. These guys that get to walk away, calling the shots, leaving the way they want, on top. Now, damn well, and Usyk is a special kind of a fighter. He's not going to end with Verhoeven. He's not ending his career with Verhoeven. It's clearly a money grab. Again, you're right. I blame. It should not be billed as a world title fight. To me, that's more disrespectful to Usyk than anybody else. But any event,
it was a world title. But look, the guy again, and we'll just leave it at this. How many times has not him, just a lot of champions been screwed? I mean, Usyk has had the IBF title taken from him because he didn't do his mandatory before he left the ring to go shower after he just knocked Dubois out.
They did the same thing to Apatea.
Yeah, that's, you know what I mean? So it's that's the sanctioning bodies. But, that you bring up Terrence Crawford. Fans, due to social media, due to a lot of these fly-by-night shows, due to opinion or shit talk by other fighters. Terrence Crawford, who would he beat? He never fought anybody. Oh, he beat an injured Spence. Oh, Canelo wasn't at his best. He waited until Canelo. He needs to prove himself. What does that man need to prove? He left on his own terms, but it's not enough for the fans. So you know what? Again, these guys need to do what these guys need to do for themselves. Leave on your own terms, like you said, because they're young, they have a long life left to live, and why not enjoy it? Because they have families.
Hey, I got no problem with that. So you had some comments about our last show that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, again, one of your listeners, she, during the chat room, man, I love it. She asked me, she goes, "Oh, do you know who Chevelle Halbeck?" Chevelle Halbeck. Doesn't ring a bell. She's like, "Oh yeah, Billy had her on the show." I'm like, "Oh, Chevy." She's like, "Oh, so you know her?" Yeah, of course I know her. But she said, "Oh, I love her. She really got her into the female part of the sport now. She wants to learn a lot more, but she's been watching a lot of Chevy, and she goes, she had she's real. That's the first time I ever seen a female fighter that's real, just themselves, and that spark in her eye when they started talking about boxing." And I say, that's Chevy. That is Chevy, and Chevy herself. Eventually, I don't know. She'll eventually be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, when she stops.
Yeah, when she stops, but eventually she'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing I told her is I'll never forget the comment from Holly Holm when the first Ann Sophie Matisse fight. And I spoke to Holly, and we're talking, and the one thing that stood out, if I can take Chevelle Halbeck punches for 12 rounds, I don't think Ann Sophie Matisse can hurt me. I'm not going to get knocked out again before I retire. And what happened? She got starched. But that was just testament, to Chevy.
I called that fight, and I couldn't believe. First of all, there was no way anybody would have thought
the librarian
that Sophie would have beaten Holly Holm. I mean, Holly Holm was she's still at it. She's a main event coming up. She's in phenomenal shape. The workout she does in Albuquerque is unbelievable. And you look at Sophie, I remember the weigh-in, and I'm saying to myself, oh, this poor woman, she just looked like some regular lady that was,
You
like
described it to me as the librarian. You're like, oh, she looked like a librarian up there.
yeah, she was, and then they come out and they start fighting, and she was slow and methodical, but I'll never forget the thudding when she landed those punches. And I got news for you. There was when she was getting starched was a good word. The referee was a local referee, and he gives her an 8 count. All right, like not a standing 8 count. He just she was battered against the ropes. The fight should have been waved off. Right. He gives her an 8 count, lets her continue, and the bell sounds. Has to help her back to the stool. And I'm watching her because she was right to my right, and she wasn't moving, and her trainer, I don't know if he still trains her, but his name was Mike Winklejohn. I'm watching him trying to revive her, and halfway into the 1 minute round, she started moving her legs again. And I'm like, they're not going to send her out. They're not going to send. They sent her out, and well, the rest is history. But
I think at that point in time, just real quick, I think a lot of the problem with that, because Holly did win the rematch comfortably, I think Holly was laser focused on that transition over to the UFC because she went over I think a fight afterwards.
I called that second fight. She ran when she came into the ring, Holly. She was doing laps around the arena. Like literally, like I would have had a heart attack, doing that, But Chevy, the fights that she had with Chevy were a little. Ann was a little more stationary. So when Holly boxed, she owned it. But Chevelle can move, and they had some wars. They had some good fights. That's for sure.
Yeah, another time I have to go back. I told her the French chicken story.
With who? With her? Well,
no, with Chevelle about the French chicken.
Yeah.
Refused to rematch her when she knew that she didn't deserve that win. But,
that was another while in France. You're right.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me about that one. But anyway, what's your thoughts on Ryan Garcia potentially, where it sounded like it's going to be fighting Conor Benn?
Well, we knew that fight was going to happen. They've been going back and forth on Twitter for quite a while. I think that Ryan Garcia might be sorry that he started this. Ryan Garcia, I'm not saying that, Conor Benn is a world beater, but Conor Benn can handle genuine middleweight power. And Conor Benn, we've seen him fight as a middleweight. We've seen what he did to Chris Eubank Jr. And Conor Benn is always in great shape. And at 147, I think he's just too much for Ryan Garcia because Ryan Garcia, he's got that left hook. And other than that, Ryan, when he gets a little bit of success, he gets too wrapped up into himself. And that's when, things turn bad for him. If Raleigh beat him and knocked him down, Conor's going to do the same. If anything, I think that Conor's going to put his lights out.
It's a tough fight for me because, with and this is just my thoughts now, Ryan Garcia, when he's on, like the version we saw, now granted, you gotta understand the opponent, which I do. Barrios, was the perfect opponent for him. But when he fights like that, focused, and he wasn't being a jerk like he has been in the past in the ring, and then he ends up regretting it, or even taking his foot off the gas pedal. He didn't do that against Barrios. And I think if that version of him shows up, I think it's going to be an extremely entertaining fight. And I could see him hanging in there.
If he comes in, if he does come in laser focused, yeah. If he comes in laser focused and he comes in like you're stating, if he comes in the way he did against Haney in their fight, minus the Peds, yeah, you're right. I believe that it can be a very entertaining fight, but I certainly believe that it's going to end by stoppage. And who's going to do it? I don't know. But yeah, in terms of the motivation, I agree, Ryan does have that ability to fight up to his level of competition. But just as you were talking about before, a little bit with Daniel Dubois, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, I guess you can say, they all have a little bit of a Zab Judah syndrome where if they're not looking at the moment and they're looking past, they're not going in there and performing at their best. And that's what happened with Zab, why he lost to Baltimore. And we've seen this with Ryan. Ryan should have dominated Raleigh. Raleigh's not that good.
Well, I think he's got the Haney fight that he could make. I think he's rolling the dice with Conor Benn because he knows that the Haney fight could be made whether he wins or loses. As a matter of fact, it could probably be made quicker if he lost. But I don't see that fight ending differently unless Ryan Garcia shows up and he's a shot fighter, because that can happen overnight.
Ryan's getting bigger, if you notice that.
Who, Ryan?
Yeah.
Well, no, he is getting bigger, and I really liked, for his last fight when he was prepping for Mario Barrios, I really followed his workout stuff that had been posted. So same stuff everybody else saw. And I really thought that his workout regimen changed him. And I think that he's kind of and maybe I'm wrong now, but he kind of has gotten addicted to that feel, that workout. And I think he's still doing it. I think he's going to be the same guy we saw. And now that he's back with his pops and he's, mentally matured a little bit, I think we're going to see a different version.
Golden Boy did him wrong. Remember when we were out for Canelo and Jacobs, who they bring? They bring Ryan Garcia in, but they don't bring in Virgil Ortiz Jr., who was on the card. Ryan, he was getting rushed. He was going to be the next big sensation. Then chaos within Golden Boy behind the scenes. All of a sudden, Ryan doesn't get that push, and he's not brought along properly. And right now, Oscar seems to be in love with Jaime Munguia. And don't get me wrong, Munguia is a good fighter, but now he's a world champion. They've had their back and forth, and Ryan wasn't really brought along properly. He kind of got a lot of easy fights and then was, thrown into the deep end.
Well, I think Ryan's problem was Ryan.
Your celebrity status. He had his own TV show that was more or less of a knockoff of Saved by the Bell, except he was a boxer. It was terrible. I just seen it on Tubi by chance. I was like, let me check this out. But Ryan, again, he's matured, like you said. I agree. You look at the back on him, I can see Ryan at 154 pounds in another year or so long as things keep going the way they are.
See, now I think. Well, if he just can't make that weight, but I think he could be dominating in 147. So we'll see. We'll see on that. Any final thoughts on the fights this weekend? I mean, you know what? Before that, you mentioned Munguia. Jaime Munguia looked great in his last fight. I tell you what, if he's got a new, who's he working with now again? A new trainer.
Munguia didn't he go move over Eric Morales?
No, I forget who he changed trainers. It made a big difference because he knew how to. I don't know. I loved what I saw. I can't wait to see him again.
No. I mean, he's always been an exciting fighter. We know that, but
yeah, but he looks so big now.
No, well, I mean, he was young. Look how little young he was. He started when he came in. He just literally steamrolled Saddam Ali, who was never the same after that. But in terms of fights coming up, don't be surprised if Sanchez Torres Jr. doesn't steal the night.
Oh, that's the fight. Listen, you just stole my night because that's the fight of the night. And there's most significance with it. I love Jack Carter. I love Jack Carterall too. So
Catterall, yes, I expect that to be an easy fight for him. And also,
I don't think it's gonna be easy.
I think so. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. Jack. I think that some opportunities that he wasn't afforded, and he definitely won the first Josh Taylor fight.
Coach is saying Munguia is with Roach, Freddie Roach.
Is he with Freddie? I guess maybe a
I
little
don't.
bit before
I
I'm
don't.
not really.
I didn't think so. I thought he changed. I think he changed for his last fight. I don't think he's with Roach. That does
And
not sound familiar.
the other one, I think, Hamza Shiraz. Look for him possibly to become the next best super middleweight in the world. I think he is going to walk through Bijik. I think he's going to go through him like a hot knife through melted butter. I really do. Shiraz, he's a guy who has been brought along properly. He has always, his competition has moved up slowly, and each fighter is getting better. And then his last few fights have been, some world-class guys. I think the draw that he had
was a loss.
With Adames.
That was a loss.
But my point is that is why I think he moved up to 168. Remember, this is a 6'3" fighter.
No. He's freak. He's like a Fundora.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a lot of weight. So I think maybe, this is what because look what he did to Berlanga. I mean, that he beat Berlanga worse than Canelo did.
No, listen.
So I think Shiraz is, and we'll see him at light heavyweight eventually. But look for that to be, another good one. There's so much good stuff that's coming on. The guy's coming back. Lomachenko. It's going to be interesting to see what he does when he comes back. I'm absolutely disgusted with the team of Fabio Wardley and the referee for allowing him to take that abuse.
Yeah,
because he took a beating that doesn't leave fighters the same again. And Wardley, if it wasn't for the Joseph Parker win, which put him on the map more or less, Wardley is kind of much on a domestic level fighter. That's not a bad thing. It's not an insult, but he's been a pro for a decade. And listen, this was a big step up for him. And hopefully he can recover from it. And Daniel Dubois, like you said, he's one of those guys that depends on his competition. Daniel Dubois, he was dominating by outboxing Joe Joyce. He got caught because he got careless with his defense. He got a little overexcited with Usyk when he knocked him down, and he got a little bit careless. Usyk is a guy where, you have to knock him out because that's a puzzle that you can't solve. It really is. That's a puzzle you can't solve. You know that. So he mentally fell apart. But this time, getting dropped early, getting back up, and then really going to war at it, I think that, we might see a different version of Daniel Dubois, the version that Lennox Lewis was so high on before Dubois became became a world-ranked fighter. So it'll be interesting to see who comes next in that division because Usyk's time is short.
Yep, no, I agree. Dax, thanks for taking some time. And by the way, Eddie Reynoso, coach just corrected him. That's who it was. He had just switched. We're talking about Jaime Munguia. He's working with Eddie Reynoso now. So,
and it's not that I'm sorry, it's not that falling behind and not paying attention. It's sometimes these guys they switch trainers or they're working with them on the DL to see whether or not things are going to work out enough to actually work together for a fight. And you kind of lose track sometimes, if you're not like right on them.
Oh, no. I hear you. Hey, listen, I've been saying this for a long time. Freddie Roach, a great trainer, but it's got to be hard to communicate with him. And when you have a language barrier that you add in there, like Jaime Munguia has, I could see why he's performing much better with Eddie Reynoso. And like Coach is saying now, Eddie Reynoso is good for defense. And you know what? It showed. I never saw Munguia really avoid punches and use a jab to say. I mean, he just looked like a different fighter to me. And I loved it. I loved every minute.
Yeah, 154 was killing him, and he more or less just skipped over 160 to go fight at 168 on the level he's never been at before against Canelo. And you can't knock him. Canelo was pretty much top dog or number 2 in the sport at the time. So Munguia, again, reaching maturity and living proof, once again, that, the O isn't always the most important. Sometimes the O is what makes guys better fighters.
No doubt. Dax, I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, everybody, enjoy the fights this weekend.
Thanks for coming on. That's my man, Dax Khan. Before we got Dax back, I was talking about Zuffa Boxing. They signed Stevie McKenna, which is an Irish middleweight. He makes his Zuffa Boxing debut on June 6th in England. It was also announced, speaking of Zuffa Boxing, it was also announced that they have no problem with fighters fighting for the ring belt. Now, this is going to get interesting, this whole Zuffa thing. You guys know that I've been a fan of Zuffa Boxing. Look, the big argument that took place recently with Jay Apatea and the IBF, and they ultimately stripped Apatea of his IBF World Cruiserweight belt. Then David Benavidez wins the Cruiserweight title from Gilberto Ramirez. And then the fight that we all want to see is David Benavidez against Jay Apatea, and he starts cutting up on the fact that Jay Apatea has the Zuffa belt. So, I kind of thought that there was going to be a time when Zuffa and a sanctioning body or two will get along. Now, the ring belt isn't necessarily a sanctioning body, and considering that Turki Al-Rashid kind of owns the ring belt, it'll be interesting to see. In addition to Zuffa having that card on the 6th I just talked about, they're also going to be in Las Vegas on June 28th at the Cosmopolitan. It will be on Paramount as usual, June 28th. And the main event is Edwin Santos, De Los Santos, and Jose Valenzuela. This is a fight that was a rematch in the making. So looking forward to that. Zuffa Boxing, listen, you're going to see these guys, what happens, I think, and, when you hear the misconceptions, the fighters are going to be not being able to make money, talk to the UFC guys. Yeah, I don't think so. I just have a feeling that some of the top stars, the biggest names, are going to go to Zuffa. Well, they need them to. Especially when you start to see the rumblings about paying sanctioning fees and that kind of stuff. And when you got a guy like Shakur Stevenson, who's real close, from what I understand, rumor has it, real close to signing with Zuffa. Once that happens, we'll see. All right, we got some fights. Let's do some breakdowns. Let me give you my thoughts on the main topic today, which is Usyk against Verhoeven. Let's start off with the fight that I kind of like all the fights on this card, except for the main event. But in the welterweight division, you're going to see Jack Catterall take on Shukram Gaziev in a welterweight scrap. Gaziev is 17-0 with 10 knockouts. He's 5'9.5", which is going to be about 2.5 inches taller than his opponent. He's not rated by the computer because he hasn't fought in a year. And the WBA has him at number 1. Ring Magazine has him at number 7. ESPN Magazine has him at number 6. And he's not rated at all by the WBC, WBO, and IBF. He's a quality fighter. His best wins, he won a 10-round decision over Christian Gomez in May of 2022. He also won a 12-round decision over Harold Calderon in June of 2023. He had a technical decision over a fighter I used to love to watch, to be honest with you, Pablo Cesar Cano, in February of 2024. And his last fight, or a fight that he had in July 2024, a 10-round split decision over Miguel Ramirez, in my opinion, was his best fights. 17 fights as a pro, which is going to be half as many as his opponent has, with a 59% KO ratio. He's a little more powerful than his opponent. His opponent Jack Catterall, a guy I absolutely love. I love watching this guy fight. 32 wins, 14 coming by knockout, and he's got 2 losses. He's got 34 professional fights as a pro, which is twice as many as his opponent. And the rounds, it's kind of funny because Gaziev has 95 rounds as a pro. Jack Catterall has 248, 153 more rounds as a pro. He's a guy that's a southpaw. The computer has him at number 6. The WBO has him at number 1. The WBA has him ranked at number 6. He's not rated in the WBC, the IBF, or ESPN, but the Ring Magazine has him at number 10, and the IBO's computer has him at number 4, which is one I like. I love the IBO computer rankings. At 5'7", he's 2.5 inches shorter than his opponent. In my opinion, he's fought a little tougher opposition. He's got a 12-round decision over Jorge Linares in October of 2023. He had a 12-round decision over Josh Taylor in May of 2024. He beat Regis Prograis in 2024 as well. And in 2025, in his last fight, he got an 11th round stoppage over Esko Usyman back in November. He's an interesting fighter. Now, who's going to win? Well, Gaziev is even though he actually has only 10% more knockout ratio, I think overall Jack Catterall has fought the better opposition. I'm picking Catterall in this fight. I think he's going to outbox him and do what he does generally, where he comes on really heavily and towards the ends of the fight, and I think he's going to do just fine. Now, the next fight I wanted to talk about is the super middleweight contest between Aleem Bijic and Hamaz Shiraz. And in this fight, it's an interesting fight because when I looked at Bijic, I was like, 39 years old. He's 13 years older than Shiraz. He is giving up 4 inches. He's 5'11 and a half, and as Dax mentioned, Shiraz is a tall guy. He's got some more fights under his belt, 29 wins, no losses, 23 coming by knockout. He does have a draw, and that was back in 2019 against Tehran Mets. The computer doesn't have him ranked. Neither does the IBO computer, because he's been out for over a year. His last fight was in April of 2025. But the WBO has him ranked at number 4. And he's not ranked anywhere else. He's a German fighter, and his best wins, a 10-round decision over David Kirkman in September of 2024, and he had a second-round stoppage over Mahidi Safardari back in April of 2025, which was his last fight. He's much older than his opponent. Shiraz is like I said, 13 years younger in this one at 26. He's 22-0 with a draw, 18 of his wins coming by knockout. The draw was in February 2025 against Carlos Adames. And like I mentioned earlier, to me, it was a total gift for Shiraz. There was no way that fight, he didn't come close to winning, let alone be a draw. But since, he's fought some pretty tough opposition, to be honest with you. He's got first round stoppage over Liam Williams in 2024. He's got an 11th round stoppage over Austin Williams in June of 2024. And he's got a 5th round stoppage over Edgar Berlanga back in July of 2025. The computer ranks him at number 2. The WBO has him at number 2. The WBA has him at number 6. The IBF and WBC do not have him rated at all. Ring Magazine has him ranked at number 10. ESPN has him at number 2. and the IBO computer has him at number 3. He's a tall fighter, 6'3". He's getting better and better, and I think this is going to be an easy fight for Shiraz over Bijic. So I'm picking Shiraz over Bijic. In what I think is going to be the fight of the night in the heavyweight division, and it's so important. First of all, it's a true 50-50 fight, in my opinion. First of all, it's going to be a substantial fight for the heavyweight division. What I like about this fight is it's two young fighters actually fighting each other. This sounds very Zuffa-esque to me, but I love the fight, and I'm talking about in the heavyweight division, Frank Sanchez going up against Richard Torres Jr. Torres Jr.'s got a record of 14-0 with 12 of his wins coming by knockout. He's a southpaw. He's 6'2". He's given up 2 inches with a 76-inch reach as well. He's got a 86% knockout ratio, which happens to be 15% more than his opponent, Frank Sanchez. The computer ranks him at number 14. The IBF has him at number 4. The WBC and the WBO have him ranked at number 9, and the WBA has him at number 15. The Ring has him at number 8. ESPN has him at number 10, and the IBO computer has him at number 13. He's a legitimate fighter by all stretches of the imagination. When all sanctioning bodies have to agree that, he's a ranked fighter, you got to give him credit. His best wins, he's had a 5th-round stoppage over Brandon Moore back in May of 2024. He had a 3rd-round stoppage over Isaac Gutierrez in December of 2024. And I think his best win of his career was a 10-round decision over Guido Vianello. And Vianello, that fight took place in April 2025. And Vianello's a good fighter. So Richard Torres showed me something in that one. He steps in the ring with Frank Sanchez, who is a highly regarded Cuban fighter. His record is 25 wins, 18 coming by knockout. And his one loss was against Ajit KBL. And Ajit KBL stopped him in the 7th round in May of 2024. If you recall, he went into this fight injured. He had a knee brace on and couldn't move around the ring and just couldn't get out of the way of KBL's pop in that fight. But nonetheless, he's 6'4", 78-inch reach. Like I said, it's a little over 2 inches in both for advantage over Torres Jr. He's the computer and the IBO don't have him ranked due to his inactivity. His last fight was in February of 2025. The IBO, however, has him at number 3, and the WBC has him at number 12. He's also not ranked by the WBO, the WBA, the Ring, or ESPN magazine. ESPN rankings. I don't know why I said magazine. I'm old. His best wins, in my opinion, there were 3. 7th-round stoppage against Junior Fa in December of 2023. Fa was an up-and-coming heavyweight along with Sanchez. So, again, Sanchez seemingly fighting the guys that you want to see him climb. He had a 9th-round stoppage over Carlos Negron in October of 2022 and a 10-round decision over Effie Ajagba in 2021. You look at those 3 wins, and they were all against fighters that were also relevant at the same time. So I give Frank Sanchez a lot of credit. Who's going to win the fight? This is a real tough one for me. Sanchez looked like a different fighter to me with the knee issue when he fought in his last fight. His previous fight against KBL. And then, he destroyed a guy he was supposed to destroy in 3 rounds in his last fight, which was February of last year. Richard Torres, he's been a little more active. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I'm going to pick Torres. I believe Torres is probably the underdog. Sanchez should win this fight based on experience. But for some reason, there's something about Richard Torres. I think he's going to continue to improve, and I think part of that process we're going to see against Frank Sanchez this weekend. Okay, the fight, Oleksandr Usyk going up against Rico Verhoeven. And Verhoeven, you heard Dax and I talk about that. Look, I don't like the fight at all. I'm not taking anything away from Usyk. I don't like the fight. If it was a fight and none of the titles, again, this isn't Usyk's fault, like Dax pointed out. Maybe I'd be a little more receptive to it, but I don't think this is going to be a close fight. I mean, Verhoeven, okay, he's got a great martial arts career. He's 37 years old, which is 2 years younger than Usyk. He does have a height and reach advantage. He's only got a 2-inch height advantage and only a half-inch reach advantage, which is going to be no advantage at all for Usyk because Usyk is used to fighting guys way bigger than him. So, there's nothing that the size, there's no size advantage. And I don't care about the weight either. He's had one pro boxing fight in his career, so he's officially 1-0. And this was a second-round knockout over the extremely tough, his name was Jans Finfara, and he was 0-5 at the time. So, and that took place 12 years ago in April of 2014. That's all I can tell you about him. I know he's a great martial arts guy, but he's going to be stepping in the ring with one of the most technically sound fighters in the world today. Oleksandr Usyk, 24-0, 15 knockouts. Look, as a heavyweight world champ, because that's the division we're going to talk about. We all know he was successful in the cruiserweight division, but as a heavyweight, 6 fights define his heavyweight career, and they were split between 3 fighters. He beat Anthony Joshua twice, he beat Tyson Fury twice, and he beat Daniel Dubois twice. And they were the top fighters at the time. So, I mean, there's nobody else that can criticize him. I criticize the fact that they're billing the fight as a title fight. You want to drum up and make boxing a little more popular in Egypt, not known for boxing. Fine, have the fight, and have it even be a pro fight that counts, but no titles on the line. Maybe put the Pyramids title on the line just, for shits and giggles. But, if that were the case, I'd have no problem with it. But, I disagree with Dax in a way about the simple fact that, if you want to be great, you got to do great things. He's done great things. There's no question. Nobody can argue that he hasn't done great things. Then walk away. The last thing he did was a great thing. When he won a rematch, his last fight, so walk away. Nobody would criticize him. He would still be right where he was, but now you take this fight, and in my opinion, it forces him to take another fight after this, because the truth of the matter is that, you can't, I would hate to see him leave the ring and retire with that being his last fight. But anyway, listen, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and hopefully you'll tune in. Don't forget to subscribe or follow and do all those things, all the socials. If you go to BillyCBoxing.com, all the links are there. I appreciate it. Just remember, tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao.